This is the second video of my YouTube channel. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. We're going to be doing some Diablo now. And the last thing I was kind of working on was just grinding nightmare dungeons and stuff like that. You know, on that grind to 80 on my 64 rogue. I kind of gave up on my necromancer. Um, I was just not having fun because I really wanted to do a minion necro, but minion necro just needs a lot of love right now, and it's not really getting it. So we're gonna continue my rogue. My rogue is a full trap rogue. I use only trap skills because I'm a sociopath. I use only trap skills and one mobility skill. I do not use a core skill at all. Um, I've had my good friend, who is a famous WoW streamer, and when he comes over, he looks at my build and he makes fun of me. He's got like a few, like 100,000 views on his WoW. Yeah, my rogue is a trap rogue. Full traps, only traps. So I'll kind of briefly go over what's going on in my build, and maybe that'll start to kind of make a little bit of sense. Obviously, I'm using the puncture with the enhanced puncture and the fundamental puncture. This is just best in slot for all of these basic abilities. I really just haven't seen a single rogue build say Invigorating Strike, Blade Shift, Heartseeker, or Forceful Arrow is even worth using. Heartseeker, like there's a small chance that Heartseeker could do something because it increases your critical strike chance against the targets that you hit with it. But I don't know. I'm not going to be the one to really mess around with it. I just really like the way the puncture feels with the build. It just really works really well. And Forceful Arrow, kind of the same thing. The fact that Forceful Arrow is every third cast makes someone vulnerable, where Puncture is every single attack that hits is a vulnerable proc, kinda makes this one feel just immediately worse. It can get some critical strike chance or some knockdown slash knockback or some piercing, but still just not really worth it. Like I said, I don't use a core skill. I'll kind of get to this in a little bit. I just don't think there's room for it on the build. If I were to use a core skill, it would probably be Twisting Blades, obviously. But the way I play, there's not room for a core skill, so I just don't use one. I completely dodge the entire path by just skilling Sturdy for the close damage reduction, because you'll see I'm always in the face of my enemies, and healing. Whenever I critically strike, because everything is just critical striking for the rogue. Then there's damage reduction over time. These 2 points can't go into anything, so they're just kind of floater points that I could like take these out, move them around if I really wanted to, put them into the caltrops. Doesn't matter. Weapon Mastery is obviously amazing. Just getting that bonus. I'm using a crossbow, so that bonus critical strength damage and the double daggers for the healthy enemies damage. Full trap, obviously, so I'm using caltrops. Enhanced caltrops and chilling caltrops, because I really like just freezing stuff. And then it also combos very well with this. Dealing 15% more damage to chilled enemies and 30% more damage to frozen enemies. And then we're using Dash. This is my main mobility skill, and you'll see with my build, this is always off cooldown. I can always dash. I can always pretty much bounce around like a nut job, especially because enemies take more damage and take more critical strike damage, and dealing damage to anything that's CC'd reduces the dash's cooldown. And pretty much everything in this game counts as CC, even the slow from Puncture, right? Puncture applies a slow, it immediately counts as CC. So if I just slow something with Puncture and then auto attack it, or auto attack it with Puncture and then dash it, lowers the cooldown immediately. We do a ton of knockdown, so getting that critical strike chance against knockdown enemies is amazing. We daze constantly, so getting that evade cooldown is also amazing. Critically striking a dazed enemy knocks them down, so that combos with this, this, and this. Right, so these two feed into this. Smoke grenade, we made this a trap using this aspect. And when it's a trap, that means it does all the things that a trap does. It gets a lower cooldown, it lowers the cooldown of every other trap, and enemies take more damage while they're affected by Smoke Bomb. And then while enemies are affected by Smoke Bomb, it has a chance to reduce its own cooldown, especially if the target is vulnerable, which everything's vulnerable with this build. Poison Trap, because we obviously need more traps, because trap. Poison Trap knocks down enemies, again, feeds back into this. And then enemies take more damage, or I deal more damage while I'm standing inside the Poison Trap. Deal more damage to healthy and injured enemies and vulnerable enemies. Amazing skill points here. I wish that this 5 out of 3 was down here, but it's up here, it's okay. Helps us start the fight and end the fight quickly. And then using a cooldown, all of our skills are cooldowns, gives us 12% more dodge. This just kind of helps us stay alive a little bit longer in fights. I already talked about I dodge all the imbuement skills as well because there's just not room on the build for them. But I do take this cold damage increase because it's very necessary for the damage. Trap Mastery, obviously, because we use Poison Trap and we use Death Trap, right? So that we have Death Trap. Death Trap pulls enemies in, and then Death Trap reduces its own cooldown, right? And then when Death Trap or Poison Trap actives, critical strike chance against vulnerable enemies increases. And then Trap Mastery, right? Whenever anything is affected by any trap and takes a lucky hit, it'll reduce the cooldowns of traps or drop cluster bombs. So that's the general gameplay, or that's the general build. Currently a Paragon build, or a Paragon board full, and then halfway through this one, and about a quarter of the way through this one. I'm kind of just rushing down to get to this so that my ultimate has more cooldown reduction. And that's what's going on. We are using preparation because it's the only thing that we can use. We literally don't have a core skill. So, basic skills generate combo points, but core skills spend them. I can't spend them in any way because I don't have a core skill. Unlimited energy doesn't matter because I don't have a core skill. Every 100 energy spent reduces ultimate cooldown. My ultimate is on when I get lucky, it's on like a 10-second cooldown or less. It really does not matter. And then using an ultimate resets the cooldown of everything else, right? And that's the only reason we're using this, and it's the only thing that's important, right? We don't use that first part, but we don't have a choice, right? We can't not use one of these. So like I said, trap skills, or grenade skills count as traps. There is a part of this that the community is still quite unsure on, which is, it says grenade skills count as traps. there's technically only one grenade skill in the game, and it's this one right here, right? If you go up here and you search grenade skill, where is it at? Grenades, grenade, right? And then you can see the little star icon around the smoke grenade, but you do not see it around anything else. Except this. And this says stun grenades. Now, there's a bit of an argument amongst the rogue trap community, the trap rogues, that these stun grenades, with this aspect, can proc all of the trap effects by themselves, right? So if I throw a smoke grenade, and then I hit the target one time with puncture, and it drops a cluster of stun grenades, the stun grenades have a chance, if they lucky hit, I don't know if they can lucky hit, but if they do, that they will either spawn more stun grenades or reduce the cooldown of all of my abilities. Now that's either or, right, for the stun grenades, because they count as traps. That's what the community is saying, because this is highlighted. I am still not sure. There are so many numbers on my screen when I get into the gameplay that it's just hard to show. Then we're using drop a smoke grenade at the end of the dash. This is very good because it works with this, right? So this smoke grenade dropped at the end of the dash is a trap. And then it lowers the cooldown of dash. This kind of feeds into the infinite loop of I'm just dashing constantly on the build. Testing right now whether Frostburn is good in the build. It kind of feels really good to instantly freeze everything. The other option that I was running with for a while was Grasp of Shadows, and that was just because it's fun to have a little shadow clone pop out of you and then throw another puncture while you're throwing punctures. But kind of deciding on whether or not that's a good thing or not. Kind of feeling Frostburn more, especially because Frostburn just kind of has better stats for us, right? We have that 7 points of critical strike chance, that cold damage increase, right? That freeze duration, and that last one is useless, but at least it's not as bad as Grasp of Shadows, which is attack speed, vulnerable damage, which are both amazing stats, but Shadow Clone damage and rank of core skills is useless for the build, obviously. We're using Temerity because Temerity is currently what is keeping me alive in this higher level content. This is up for debate whether or not I'm going to get rid of it, whether or not I get the Trap Rogue pants that basically infinitely reset the Death Trap. Death Trap will rearm itself if it doesn't kill a target, but I haven't gotten them to drop yet. Then we're using chilled enemies hit by your grenade skills. Any grenade skills. This is another part of the build that is really enabling it to do some pretty funky stuff. Because, again, the stun grenades count as traps, supposedly. So, chilled enemies hit by grenade skills have a chance to instantly be frozen, and you deal more critical strike damage against frozen enemies. This kind of is a Frost Trap Rogue. The more I play it, the more I'm kind of leaning into that. Basic skills grant 60% attack speed. This is, to me, necessary for the build, right? We want to, while enemies are affected by traps, we want to hit them as many times as possible to get as many lucky hits to proc as possible so that we get as much cooldown reduction and as many cluster grenades as we possibly can. And so this attack speed, a maxed roll on my two-hander is almost necessary to me. I haven't really tested a version of the build without this attack speed. So this is up for debate for a lot of people, I'm assuming, but we'll see. This is also another aspect, just kind of helping me stay alive. This is just increased armor when you deal damage to enemies. And then making an enemy vulnerable has a chance to grant increased critical strike chance for 3 seconds, up to 9%. This is good. We're doing a lot of critting, a lot of critical strike chance, a lot of critical strike damage. And then dealing direct damage to enemies has a chance to just make them vulnerable straight up. So if there's some reason not vulnerable from puncture, or maybe they're just enemies that I'm hitting with death trap, they could all become vulnerable all at once. Very good aspect. Caltrop throws stun grenades, just helps with the general rotation. Probably not entirely necessary. I'm still deciding on this one as well. And dash spawns a shadow clone. It's just some extra damage on the fact that when I finally get in and show you, my dash really does not have a cooldown, and having an extra dash on top of that is just a fun time. Or not like an extra dash, a shadow clone. Because I kind of was doing a shadow clone build a little bit. But having a shadow clone follow me and
come back if you need the forge.
Repeat the dash is just extra damage on top of the build.
I can break that down.
So I'm gonna salvage all my stuff that I had from my last Nightmare dungeon, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna put, I think, all of this just kind of in the stash for now. My stash is not impressive, don't judge me. I'm not a hoarder. These are up for debate whether or not I'm going to slop them into the build and replace these daggers, because currently these kind of out-power level these ones. But I don't know if I have the materials to upgrade all of these, and whether or not their stats are just straight up better or worse than all of these. Sorry Gary, I just looked at your comment. I'm leveling a rogue at the moment with a bow build. What's your opinion on the dash taking up a permanent slot on every character? You talking about what? You think dash is core to rogue? Like you don't want to play rogue without dash? Which one of these do we feel like doing? I want the slot skills instead. Like I could in Diablo 3. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. I mean, you can move all this stuff around, right? And like, I'm trying to kind of figure what you're talking about. What's up, Nick? But like you can slot this wherever you want, and you can move these around. Or are you saying you just want like Dash to not be here? Is that what you're saying? You just want to move Dash away from here and put something else here? I think that's what you're talking about. I think I remember what you're talking about now. In Diablo 3. Let's go for this one. Not an easy way to get to that dungeon, is there? I guess the runic keep is kind of the easiest way to get to it. Oh, evade? You're talking about evade taking up a skill slot? Like, taking up the space bar? That's what you're talking about? Oh, I haven't even, like, thought about that. I don't know. My opinion on that? I mean, evade is I think, core to the way that, like, Diablo 4 is kind of playing, right? At least for me, right? Like, if I dash into a group of enemies, you'll see, right? Like, if I dash into a group of enemies, I, like, want the option to be able to evade out, like I just did, right? Like, that option is, like, being able to evade out, like, this, damage resistant enemies. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the option to be able to evade, but I guess I kind of see your logic on being able to, like, replace this spacebar slot. I mean, now that I think about it, you might be right, actually. When you hit things, your mic is unhearable. The game is too loud. That's crazy. It's on, like, 5%. Effects volume. True. That should be a little bit better.
I'm not ready yet. I need more time.
These enemies are so spread out right now. I can't group them. But, you know what you're saying, Gary? Like, now that I think about it, I don't know. Like, if I could put dash in this spacebar slot, yeah, I probably would. I'm not gonna lie, because then I probably would run a core skill in this build. But dash is just, like, so necessary. But that's the thing, like what you just said, right? The Necro has the evade, and it feels like almost core to their gameplay, though. Like, because the Necro has no mobility, so like if they get caught, they just die. Like
I need time to do that.
they get murdered. That was a huge frame skip. Huge frame skip. Oh my god. Diablo is having so many server problems right now. So
I need more
many.
time.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, Necro only has one escape tool in their entire kit, right? They only have, what's it called? Blood Mist, right? So, like, without evade... I mean, yeah, they definitely did have, like, a mobility tool in, like, 3, but in 4 right now they don't, right? Like, they have Blood Mist, and Blood Mist slows you down so much. Like, sure, it kind of makes you invulnerable for a duration. What is this echo? What do you mean, echo? I don't think there's any echo. I'm echoing? Is it better now? I closed my own stream in the background. Maybe that fixes it? It sounds like you're in a Pringles can. Man, why you gotta do me like that? I'm out here trying my best, playing with my audio, and then she sends whatever that tentacle thing is. And then you send whatever that is. Is this any better? Is this any better? Oh man. We are going through it. Oh, you want to join? That's what you want to do? Sure. Do you have more than one microphone? No. No. I do not have more than one microphone. My webcam, it doesn't have audio, I don't think. It's capturing video, it's not capturing audio. No, Vaj, I will not go into the Discord. I'm recording. I don't want to. I am recording the YouTube video alongside this, and now that you have asked these questions, I now have to edit. My YouTube channel is up, but there are no videos on it. I'm about to upload two at once. because we're in this. Is the game audio like can you hear the game at all, or is it like so low that it's not even there?
You saved my life.
The game audio is good. Okay.
I'm not ready yet.
Alright. I get that I'm in a tin can, alright? We're gonna have to fix this. When I can, alright? I wanna get this nightmare dungeon done so that I can stop recording, and then we can, I don't know, figure it out together. Okay?
I'm not ready yet.
But also, Gary, yeah, I see what you're saying. I do remember that, like, Witch Doctor specifically had the spirit evade thing. But that's the thing, right? Like, in this game, a lot of the characters don't, like, have a ton of mobility. So, you know, they're all just kind of, like, struggling, and the evade just kind of helps everybody at least have a little bit of mobility. But I kind of get what you're saying, where you wish that you could replace the spacebar slot, because I probably would put dash in that ability slot.
Wouldn't have made it without you.
So this is a level 77 dungeon. I am 65, and we're just like loving through it. Obviously, dodge is here, but I don't need dodge. But like, we're blowing through it. Like, we just don't care. Right, and at some parts there are points in which my build kind of like slows down. The only time it kind of slows down is like when there's not enough enemies, right? Like single target damage, I'm not the best at. Like this one guy, I gotta like knock him down, put a smoke bomb on him, and then auto him 20 times in a row to like actually kill him. But when it comes to large pack enemies, my build just destroys them. Bosses also, my build destroys them, as long as I can maintain my rotation correctly. But like weird single target, like 1Zs or 2Zs enemies, I don't have like enough time to build up enough traps on them to like actually get my abilities constantly resetting. But like this. This we're just going off.
I'm not ready
Is there anything
yet.
back here that I need to grab? No, not really. I'll grab the 2 sapphires though. so annoying when they just start making things. But that is the point of them, isn't it? But this is kind of what I was talking about. Like, I can press my ult, and my ult comes back so fast. Like, I don't need... Oh god, there are 3 bosses.
Any more time?
Like, a lot of people are saying, like, you really need twisting blades for this build, and I'm just like, no, I don't. What are twisting blades doing?
Any more time?
We got a crossbow with twisting blades on it. Wow. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't really talk about this in the build. If most of them struggle with mobility, wouldn't that be a bad design flaw? Having an evade feels like the laziest band-aid solution possible. I agree. I definitely agree on that part. But real quick, I was gonna talk about this is the like one glyph that I have in my Paragon board, and it's absolutely one of the most necessary glyphs for my Paragon board. It just gives me that increased trap skill damage across the board, and then trap skills have non-ultimate trap skills have an increased radius, right? So like this is Caltrops, right, with the increased radius, right? And it almost looks natural until I remove it, right? As soon as I remove this, you're like, wow, that's crazy. Like, is Caltrops really that small? Right? Same thing, actually, with the Poison Trap, because the Poison Trap also gets modified by this. I think not the visual of it, but like the actual explosion, and I can definitely try and go show you that real quick, because I'm pretty sure there's a pretty large group of enemies that we left in this dungeon. This is not sorted by radius. That's annoying. There we go. I got it back. But, alright guys, so that's the end of, I'm gonna end the YouTube video here. That's the end of my YouTube video for my full Trapper Rogue build with a Nightmare Dungeon clear that was like 12 or 13 levels higher than me. 12 levels higher than me. So I feel like that's a good view of the build, and that it definitely has the clear potential. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.